Hey everybody, it's John Bailey from Two Guys with Baggage,
And Patty Wary.
and we are here with another episode. We're still doing this. Another episode of Dinner's Going to Be a Little Late Tonight. This is episode 7. So I think we're starting to hit our stride. What do you think, Patty?
I hope so. I'm having a blast, and I hope everyone who's watching is having a great time too. I think I'm having too much fun, honestly. So,
Well, maybe it's the wine, which would make dinner a little late tonight. Get it?
yeah, at least on Wednesdays. Dinner is not late on Wednesdays.
So, what are we making this week?
Well, this week we're making sake salmon with asparagus and spinach. And this is a really light, fresh, great recipe for warm weather. And the thing I love about it is it's healthy. It's really good for you. It's very satisfying, but you can still have dessert and not feel guilty after. It's totally super healthy, good for you. So, but before we get into that, let's talk about last week, because I had so much fun last week with our special guest, and I hope everybody enjoyed their flatbread. I actually finished the flatbread yesterday. Not gonna lie, I ate my last piece of flatbread yesterday, and it was still delicious. I don't know if that's gross.
So we made pesto flatbread with goat cheese and prosciutto, and we made it out of simple pizza dough that I got at Trader Joe's. And Patty, where did you get yours?
I think mine was in the Vons at Lake Tahoe. Or I guess it was Safeway up there. Yeah, Safeway.
You didn't really use pizza dough. You used something else.
No, it was pizza dough.
Oh,
it was
just Pillsbury.
Yeah, just Pillsbury, classic pizza dough.
So anyway, this pesto pizza, I keep calling it pasta. So we made pesto. I made pesto. Patty bought hers. And then we made this delicious pizza. And even my kids loved it, so much so that it disappeared in only 2 days. So yours but they loved it. We ate it cold right out of the refrigerator.
Oh yeah, it's great. Did you try the reheating thing, or it was gone? You didn't try the reheating trick?
It was gone. It was gone. We never tried it.
I did it, and it works. So that's a little reheating trick. If you want to reheat something real quick, in case you missed it, preheat your oven to 350. Put your item that you're reheating on a little baking sheet, whether it's restaurant leftovers or whatever. Put it on a baking sheet. Put it in the oven at 350. Put it in the oven when you hit preheat. By the time the oven is preheated, it's warm and perfect. So, but anyway.
Because it doesn't get all dried out, which has been my problem. And I hate putting stuff in the microwave because it gets all gummy and it changes the consistency, and it's never as good.
No. So back to this week. So we're going to do this kind of in a funny little order because I want to get the first ingredient in the oven right away. So one of the ingredients is asparagus that I've just cut up into lovely little pieces and tossed with a little olive oil. And I'm going to throw it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 7 minutes until it is the old timer. Love the kitchen timer. Till it's just like crisp tender. And
so I have a question about that. Did you toss the asparagus with the olive oil in the bowl and then put it in the pan? Or did you put it on the pan, pour the olive oil over, and toss it on the pan?
Yes, I tossed it on the pan. There's another thing. That brings up a good point that I like about this recipe. I am super...
I'm doing this right now.
Okay. To not use a lot of dishes when I'm cooking. I like to try to minimize it. So I've got a couple little hacks for this recipe, and that is one of them, that you cut your asparagus on the cutting board, put it right on the pan, toss it with some olive oil, bam. And you can kind of shake it around. That's kind of fun. So John is going to... So the main ingredient, of course, of this recipe is the salmon, and it has a yummy marinade that John is going to walk us through. But before we get to that, I saved some asparagus because don't you just love doing this? I just love this. So I saved some to do, just some extra. I love the snap asparagus. One more. Okay, I'm good.
So Patty, I have a question for you about asparagus.
What's your question, John?
Well, how it makes your pee smell. I don't know how else to put it, but you always know when you've had asparagus, even if you didn't know you were eating it, it snuck in because all of a sudden your pea has a very distinct odor.
Well,
Do you know why that is?
I do, as a matter of fact. And this is the crazy thing. It's a sulfurous amino acid that breaks down into that smelly chemical. And it breaks down everybody's pea smells when you eat asparagus. But here's the crazy thing. Not everybody has the gene to smell it. So I bet there's people out there who are saying, I don't get asparagus pea. I don't know what you're talking about. You do. You just don't have the gene that you can smell it. But if you can smell it, it means you have a good nose.
So wait. So you can't smell your own pee? These folks can't smell that?
They don't have the gene that enables them to smell this component that the asparagus creates.
Oh my God, I love this.
I know.
The joke about not smelling your own farts, does that apply to this?
Everybody smells their own farts.
Well, anyway, that's really, that's like, I have a friend who has a gene that makes cilantro taste like dish soap. And so she cannot eat cilantro because this gene, it's like reject. I cannot eat this. And it's like, reject. It doesn't taste like food.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's the same idea. So that's what you learned today about asparagus. And we've got some fun facts about spinach and a little bit about salmon, all those health benefits. But John, let's get that marinade going.
Okay.
Cooking. What do you say?
Okay. So first of all, I've got my beautiful salmon, which has not gone into the marinade yet, that I got at the fish market yesterday. It's a fresh Atlantic salmon. And we talk about salmon a lot because in our family, because we're trying to teach our girls to eat healthy. And, teenage girls and potato chips and pretzels and spicy, what are those things called? Those cheddar cheese things?
Oh.
Those puffs, cheese puff things?
Cheetos? Doritos? Cheetos.
Yeah. So we're like, or how about you have a nice piece of salmon because it's so good for you. And as you get older, and we do get older, all the good fatty acids and all of the other things that are in salmon are actually really good for cholesterol and for our hearts and for things that help us keep going and live longer. And it's more important as you get older. So salmon.
Yeah. It's loaded with vitamin A, D, E, and K. But here's a good one. It's one of the best weight loss foods because it's got so much lean protein. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. And it's got essential fatty acids that help lower blood pressure. Here's a good one. Encourages your skin to hold water, so it makes it smooth, supple, and youthful. And it burns body fat and gives you energy. It helps lubricate your joints. It keeps your body warm, and it improves memory. It's good brain food. I mean, salmon is like the miracle food. That's all I'm going to eat for the rest of my life.
All I heard was makes your skin makes you look younger. That's all I heard. And I was like, no, I'm kidding. I actually was learning recently about cholesterol and bad cholesterol and good cholesterol and how they are different and how you really need to watch the LDL levels, your bad cholesterol levels, and manage them properly because they're the ones that can lead to a lot of serious other side effects. And so, again, salmon, not Cheetos, salmon, that's the thing.
Yep. So what else is in the marinade?
So we're gonna make this marinade that Patty's already got her salmon marinating in, but I'm gonna make it now so that you guys can see how it comes together. And what is our secret ingredient in our marinade, Miss Patty?
I know. It's sake.
Sake. So this dish has a decidedly sort of Asian flavor profile to it because we're using ponzu and ginger and sake. And most people don't really realize that sake it's very complex and it's like wine. There are many prefectures in Japan that have different sake breweries and distilleries, and they all have different flavor profiles. So we're going to use one that I like because it's sweeter, and it's called Haikaksan Kijoshu. So again, I probably butchered that, so don't quote me on that, but it'll be in the recipe later. But it's a sweeter sake. So we're going to use a half a cup of sake, and that is going to help us make some pretty amazing flavor. And then how much ponzu are we using, Sif?
Quarter cup.
And a quarter cup of ponzu. So ponzu is this Asian deliciousness that you can get at the grocery store or a specialty store, but it's I think it's Japanese, is it not? Ponzu?
Yes, and it's soy sauce and usually citrus like lemon juice. I was looking up, you can actually make your own with soy sauce, lemon juice, rice vinegar, a little brown sugar, and mirin, which is sweet rice wine.
This one has yuzu and potato and barley malt. I don't know, it sounds pretty good.
All right,
So
asparagus.
Say again?
I'm checking my asparagus, which is cooked to perfection. Absolutely perfect.
Okay, so now we're putting 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, and we're putting garlic. It was Patty's recipe calls for 2 large cloves of garlic, which makes a lot. See, can you see? That's a lot of garlic, but it's going to make this taste delicious. So I'm putting the garlic in, and freshly grated ginger. Now, I don't know if you guys buy ginger at the store. It looks like it's this weird root. Fresh ginger is it's so fragrant.
I love it.
It smells so good, but it's really, really hard to grate or cook with or slice because it's got this weird skin on it. So the trick that I use, and I don't know, Patty, maybe you have a trick too, is I use a vegetable peeler and I get off all of the rind, and then I'm left with just the root, and then it's super easy to grate it or cut it or use it.
That's what I do. That's the same thing that I do. I also have a little hack for the ginger because I like speed. John, have you ever used this stuff? They make ginger, garlic, cilantro. This is a great little hack for the ginger, and it's delicious. It works great, and it keeps in your fridge. I love the smell and taste of ginger. That's like the sake, the ginger. I feel like I should be eating sushi.
Well, and that's the thing about sake. I'll talk about that in a minute. But here's our other secret recipe ingredient, maple syrup. So you know that's going to make it taste delicious, and we're putting 2 tablespoons of that.
Real maple syrup, not this.
Real maple syrup. Okay, and that's as easy as it is. And you just whisk that together with a little wire whisk. And
I use my little baby whisk, John. I use my baby whisk.
I know, I have one of those somewhere. Did you steal that from me? I think you stole that from my kitchen.
I might have.
You're a whisk stealer. That's who you are.
I do. Well, I'm not going to go into that. So while John is doing that, I'm going to show you this asparagus real quick because I need to get it in my bowl with my spinach. So here's the fun thing about this. Another thing that I've done with this recipe that makes it so easy is it's 1 bag of spinach and 1 bunch of asparagus. So then we take the asparagus, we put it in the bowl. Let's see if I can do this without spilling it all over the place. And we're going to let the hot asparagus get on there. Wow, crash, bang. I'm going to toss it with my tongs, and I'm going to let that hot asparagus kind of wilt the spinach a little bit, which I love because it's just kind of like a salad, but not really. So I want that spinach a little wilty.
Hold it up higher because I can't see what you're doing.
I know. There, how's that? Ah, I'm cramping my calf.
That's great, though.
Okay, so I just toss it, and then I'm going to let it sit, and it's going to get wilty while the salmon cooks. So back to you, John. So
I've whisked together all the ingredients. I'm taking my beautiful pieces of salmon with the skin on. We'll get to that later. And I am putting the salmon in a Ziploc bag. And then all I'm doing is I'm just pouring the marinade directly into the Ziploc bag on top of the salmon. And then I'm zipping it up and putting it in the refrigerator to marinate. So it looks like this. So Patty and I, before we started the show today, we had a whole conversation about salmon with the skin on versus the skin off. And you know, the skin has all kinds of nutrients and it's really, really good for you. But I hate it. It's so gross. I can't do it. So the good thing about this recipe is you can eat it with the skin if you like, but the way that we cook it, the meat of the salmon just slides right off the skin. So you could just scoop it right off and put it on top of the salad and just leave the skin behind, which is what I'm going to do.
Me too. So my salmon's already marinated. So there it is. You can see the little pieces of garlic on there and ginger. And I'm going to put it right on the same pan. Again, one pan. And
I love that you got it using one pan because it's like, again, like, you know, especially when the weather's hot, you don't want to use your kitchen for more than you have to. You don't want to make a bunch of dishes dirty so that you have to clean up after. So just making it easier, like this takes very few bowls, not much preparation, comes together really fast. So that's one of the things that's also great about this dish.
Yeah, it's great. And I just set the timer for 10 minutes. The recipe calls for like 12 to 15, but I always try to err on the side of caution and not overcook it. My husband, and honestly, I would say if you like salmon and you want to try this dish, cook it the way you like it. My husband likes it, we can never remember. He likes it less well done. I like it more well done. So, and I think my daughter's somewhere in between. So we'll be tweaking it, you know, to your taste. So, all right, so that's in the oven. I think I'm thirsty, John.
Well, we should talk a little bit about sake because recently I did a sake tasting event and paired sake with I got 3 bottles of sake and we paired it with different foods. And my entire life, I've always thought sake goes with Japanese food or sake goes with sushi specifically. And there's a wonderful company called Tipsy Sake, and that's with 2 P's. TIPPSY sake, SAKE.com. And they sent me 3 bottles of sake and then all of the instructions about why each of these was so different and what I should be tasting it with. And it was amazing to learn that sake tastes really good with chocolate or cheese and crackers. I had it with pizza. And yes, I also had it with sushi. So it was great to try it with all these different things and realize that sake is a lot broader flavor profile than I think we give it credit for. Here's another thing about, and I'm going to have a sip of it because, cheers, Patty.
Cheers.
They're going to be a little late tonight, cheering you. I'm having a sip of my delicious sake. So the other thing I learned about sake is that the majority of it is meant to be chilled when you drink it. And the better sakes tend to be chilled. And the reason why it was served warm to Americans for so many, many years is because Japan sent the inferior sake overseas to places like America. And when it came here, it just didn't taste very good, and Americans did not like the flavor. And so in order to get it to a place where we liked it, they would warm it. And then it tasted better for some reason, and we would drink it. So warm sake, now it doesn't necessarily mean that, but it might mean that you are drinking inferior sake. So most of the more, not expensive, well, maybe expensive, but the more classic sakes and the better bottles are always served chilled. The other thing that I learned that was so cool about sake was that there's dessert sake, there's appetizer sake, there's main course sake, and some that goes with fish, some that goes with red meat. Like, it was fascinating. And what's cool about, and I don't mean to do a big commercial for Tipsy Sake, but what's great about it is that they have a subscription box. And so every quarter they'll send you a box of sakes with all of the tasting instructions. And if you do that with wines anyway, people do that with wines all the time. Why would you not do that? This is rice wine. That's what this is. It's the same alcohol content. It has the same complexities. I think it's great. And
John,
typically sake, go ahead.
when you were tasting the sake, did you notice that they like all tasted really different, like wine?
Yes, and like wine tastes, there are similarities in any wine that you taste every time you drink wine. It doesn't taste like bourbon, it doesn't taste like vodka, it tastes like wine. And so sake tastes like sake because it has that rice undertone that's what it's made from. But it has some pretty distinct flavors and aftertones, and they use the same language to describe the complexities of the sake that they do for wine. So you might be tasting something with a cherry undertone or something that has a little cinnamon aftertaste. And those are the same terminology that they use when we're talking about sake. So if you're into sake and you like hearing more about it, want to learn more, Tipsy Sake has a special deal for us, for the people that are watching with us today. Dinner's going to be a little late tonight. So if you want to, you can go to tipsysake.com and type in the code "dinner's a little late," all lowercase, just one word, and get 10%
right
off the order.
There, just like
Patty.
right there, right there.
There you go. So type in the code "dinner's a little late," get 10% off your order, and that's good until the end of September. So tipsysake.com. Anyway, they've been very kind to me, so I'm excited to be drinking their sake.
Thank you, Tipsy Sake. I do have a correction since I put the salmon in the oven. I actually put it in only for 7 minutes because I forgot that you want to, but I did remember that you reserve a little bit of the marinade, a couple of tablespoons of the marinade, and we're going to brush that on the salmon halfway through the cooking process. I was stressed out that I was going to forget to reserve the marinade. I had Post-its all over the kitchen. So we definitely need a hack. We have the hack on how to reserve the pasta water. Now we need a hack on how to remember to reserve the marinade.
Do you have the hack?
No, I'm putting it out there for our viewers. Please help.
And Dorothy doesn't have a hack for this?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Okay. Dorothy is Patty's sister, who seems to have a hack for everything. And so if you're listening, Dorothy, or you're watching, type in the comments the hack for this, because I'm sure you have one up your sleeve.
Yeah.
And then we'll share it with everyone else.
Yes. And the thing about making the sake hot reminded me of last week when we learned that the original reason for putting salt on your margarita glass was to mask inferior tequila. So there you go. Let's see. So I've got a few more minutes with my salmon. So maybe you saw me while John was talking. I'm continuing to kind of toss this and let it get a little wilty. Not super wilty, but just break it down a little bit. So this is a great dish that you can serve as soon as it's done. You can serve it room temperature. I'm probably going to chill it and then bring it out later for dinner time. Let me tell you a couple things about spinach because I have a little quiz for John. Let's see. Oh. So everybody knows spinach. Do you?
I'm good at quizzes.
Spinach, where's my guns? There they are. There's those guns, baby. Popeye. So it's great for your heart. It's got anti-cancer properties. It's got antioxidants. It helps with digestion. It regulates your blood pressure, and it improves eyesight. But John, true or false? Spinach helps prevent acne.
Ooh, I'm going to say true.
It is true, but I can't remember why. Is that crazy? True or false? It helps. Oh, hang on. Hold that thought. It helps prevent constipation. True or false?
I'm going to say true.
True. Okay, I'm going to tell you these are all true. So yes, a high fiber in spinach helps prevent constipation. It helps with hair growth because of the vitamins.
I should be eating more.
Yeah, you need to eat more spinach, John, sweetheart. He used to have more hair than I did. We'll get to the high school story.
Exactly like hers. So
yeah,
it was nice curly, not as blonde, but curly. Yeah.
Mine wasn't blonde either. And then it helps with sleep. And because it has vitamin B6 and magnesium, which helps with production of serotonin, which helps with sleep. And a cup of spinach is only 7 calories. Do you notice that when you buy like the bag of spinach and you steam it, it comes down to like 1 serving? think of all of the nutrients you're getting. I mean, it's just amazing. So I'm going to now take the salmon out of the oven, brush that marinade on it, throw it back in.
While we're talking about spinach, I use it a lot when I make pasta. In fact, I made pasta the other night, and I made a simple bolognese sauce with tomatoes and hamburger meat and some fresh tomatoes. And then I threw in a bag of spinach, and it wilts in the pasta as you're mixing it with the noodles. And so you're getting this kind of fresh infusion of nutrients. But it just kind of mixes in and adds an interesting flavor to the overall pasta dish. I do it all the time. Patty, do you ever make baked ziti with spinach and tomatoes and mozzarella cheese?
I think I have once.
We're going to have to make that on this show because, again, it's one of those things. It's a winter thing. So we'll save that for weeks ahead. But it's one of those super easy dishes you can make ahead and then serve is afterwards as leftovers or for lunch or it's delicious and easy. But spinach, some people even drink it, like in shakes and stuff with the kale and pear juice and apple cider vinegar. And I'm not big on that. Cayenne, I'm not big on it, but spinach, however you choose to ingest it, is always going to be good for you.
So, oh my gosh, I forgot something.
Hey, Henry's watching. Your buddy Henry. Thanks for watching, Henry.
Hi, Henry. How's it going? So, what did I forget? I forgot to toss the spinach and the asparagus with a little more lemon juice and a little bit of balsamic vinegar. How much balsamic vinegar? 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Easy cheesy.
Balsamic vinegar is also one of those things like olive oil that you don't want to scrimp on. It's something that you can buy in the grocery store very inexpensively, but save your pennies and buy the little nicer one because there's a huge difference in flavor between the mass-produced, inexpensive balsamic vinegars and olive oils, and the more bespoke, sort of handcrafted versions. It's just a world of difference, and it's worth it. You don't use so much of it that it's going to break your wallet to get the little nicer bottle, so do that for sure.
Absolutely. Little coarse kosher salt, a little pepper, and about half a tablespoon of lemon.
Oh, I forgot. I have a surprise. I know this has nothing to do at all with what we're making, but I have to show you this, Patty, so you have to pay attention. You know how I have this vegetable garden in the backyard, and
let me see. What? They're
these
beautiful.
are melons.
What?
They're melons.
They're okay, Austin Powers.
I'm sorry. They are watermelons, and something went terribly wrong because this is how big they got. And I'm really kind of afraid to cut them because who knows what we will find. They're about the size of a grapefruit.
I thought you'd grown the round zucchini that you used when we did that recipe. But those are watermelons?
These are watermelons.
I think you should hollow them out and make a cocktail in them.
Oh, that's a great idea. I could put like a little tiki, that would make a little tiki thing with an umbrella and some pineapple and a nice maraschino cherry.
I think some vodka and you're good to go. So now I've tossed the spinach with the balsamic vinegar, the salt, the pepper, the lemon. So again, you can see that it's a really light recipe. Salmon is so rich that I can't eat a lot of it. So that the balance is just great on this recipe. So my salmon should be ready in just a couple minutes. Again, to your preference, I'm going to start plating my spinach, my asparagus.
And while you're doing that, my salmon is starting to get this beautiful patina. So it's soaking in the marinade, and it's starting to change a little bit color. It's getting a little bit darker, and I know that's going to be so good when I'm ready to cook it later. So Patty, I know the recipe says you want to leave it in the refrigerator for a half an hour, but I can leave it longer than that. Okay?
Well, that's a good question because I'm wondering is there something in that marinade that's going to like to start to cook the fish, like a ceviche kind of deal, or is it okay to just hang?
No, because we only put a tiny bit of lemon juice, and that's the only thing that would do that.
Okay, then cool. Just don't forget to reserve some when you take it out.
I won't forget.
I feel like you might forget. I'm nervous. All right, let's see how my salmon's done. Where'd my fork go? It smells amazing. Let's just flake it out a little bit here. Oh my goodness gracious. Can you see that?
Ooh, that looks perfect.
Perfect little flakiness. Oh, huh. Now I might actually like it a little more well done, but this is perfect for the hubby. So this will be Scott's serving.
While she's doing that, when I was growing up in Northern California, you used to be able to go to, there were quite a lot of fish markets, Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and then down the coast in the Monterey area, Cannery Row, and you could buy an entire salmon. And that's what we would do. We would buy the entire salmon, which are actually quite large, and then bring it home and we would barbecue it. We look sliding off, right?
I just want to see how that just slid right off the skin. Bam. Oh!
So did you drop it?
Oh, I dropped it on the plate though, but I'm going to still make it.
Oh, okay.
No one's going to know.
Well, if you don't prefer salmon with the skin on, like me, this is one of those recipes where it's really easy just to slide the meat of the salmon right off and put the, and leave the skin on the pan. However, if you like the skin part too, and it's a delicacy in a lot of places, that crispy salmon skin. I've tried it in sushi, still don't like it, but a lot of people do. So you could have it either way.
All right. Well, it's not quite as pretty as it was a second ago, but I think I masked it. So there you go. There's your salmon.
Thanks, Meredith.
Thank you. And it's the hardest thing about Wednesday.
That looks beautiful.
Not eating dinner at 1:30. So there you go. Light, healthy, super, super healthy. This is I told my husband, you have to eat spinach and salmon every day because you need everything that these things do for you.
Well, you're convincing me I need to eat it more often. And now I have a great recipe to make when I'm ready to have some.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to try that tipsy sake because that sounds fun. I like wine clubs.
It is. So look, here's 2 of the sakes they sent. And the third one we've already finished. And these are almost finished. So one is sweet, one is dry, and the one that we finished was sort of an in-between kind of dinner variety. So delicious.
Awesome. All right. Well, dinner's not going to be a little late tonight.
Not tonight.
Tonight.
So next week, we've got a special dish. So we're moving into fall, even though in California we're still in the heat. But we're thinking ahead towards the fall, and we're going to make a rack of lamb. And we went for Triton's birthday recently. We took a little COVID-safe road trip to the Monarch Beach Resort in Dana Point, which is near Laguna Beach, Newport Beach area and it's about an hour and a little bit up the road from us in San Diego. And so we stayed on property and we had our little protective bubble. They did a great job, by the way, in making sure that it felt safe and clean. And anyway, we ate dinner in their restaurant, and the chef made this rack of lamb dish, this Moroccan rack of lamb that was to die for. I mean, so delicious. So I asked for the recipe, and he very kindly shared it. So next week, we are going to make Moroccan rack of lamb, which has this really kind of earthy Moroccan mixture to it, on a bed of mashed potatoes with red bell peppers mixed in, and some spiced vegetables, and a little tomato coulis. So we're going to get a little fancy. So this week we were doing simple, and next week we're going to do a little fancy. So there'll be a little bit more action, a lot more different dishes all coming together and being plated at the same time. But please tune in next week for Moroccan rack of lamb from the chef at the Monarch Beach Resort.
Thanks for joining us. John, remind everybody how they can find us.
Okay, so if you want to see the recipe from today or watch any of the episodes past, go to twodadswithbaggage.com, and the recipe will be posted in a little bit as soon as I have Patty's finished plated pictures to add to the recipe in the blog. And you can watch all of our past episodes on our YouTube channel at Dinner's a Little Late. And that's the YouTube channel is Dinner's a Little Late. And on Facebook, you'll see it too. So tune in, stay with us, and thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. And next week, a little rack of lamb number.
And thanks to Tipsy Sake for that 10% off code. Don't forget, that's Dinner's a Little Late, just like next to my name. You can get 10% off your purchase through this month. So plan to have this recipe, order your sake, and yay, Meredith. Oh, and now Meredith, you got to do me a favor. When you make it, take a picture and share it with us. We love to see what, and I like it when people put a little spin on their own on these recipes too. So take it, make it your own, and let us know how it worked for you. We'll see you next week.
Okay, bye everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.